Good morning, everyone. Paul Rupel here with Fox 29 News Now. Hope your Thursday's off to a great start. It is 10:09 right now on the East Coast, and we are coming to you live from Philadelphia. You're looking live at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia. And we are coming to you from the Technical Operations Center here in our Fox 29 studios. We'll get you a full look at weather in a little bit, but for the time being, let's get you the time and the temperature and some conditions. It's 54 right now. The dew point is 43 degrees, and winds out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour. So a slight breeze out there. Nothing not too gusty out there. Here's a look at what is on the way today. We do have some rain. There has been some forecast of snow moving into Pennsylvania, so we'll get you the latest on that as well in a little bit. In the meantime, let's look live outside our studios here at 4th and Market Streets and get you to some news. First things first, let's get you to a quick live event here. This is the arrival of Vice President Mike Pence. He's in Manchester, New Hampshire. Get you a little bit of information about why he's there. He's arriving at Manchester-Boston Regional Airport this morning before filing the ticket for President Donald Trump and himself to be on the ballot in New Hampshire at the New Hampshire State House. He'll be delivering some remarks as part of New England Council Politics and Egg Series at the New Hampshire Institute of Politics. So that's what Vice President Mike Pence is in New Hampshire this morning. While we're on national news, let's get you a report from Washington this morning. This was from Good Day Philadelphia. Democrats are about to take their impeachment inquiry public. Fox correspondent Doug Luzader has more from Washington about what that means and who is expected to testify.
Trump is calling his looming impeachment hoax. Been doing that for weeks now, but Democrats in Congress are now on the verge of launching public hearings to make their case.
This new phase begins in less than a week, and the administration is bracing, though, for what comes next.
Doug, what comes next?
Well, what comes next is the White House is hiring some new staff to deal specifically with impeachment as Democrats get ready to make this process very public.
Hello, Louisiana. Thank you very much.
President Trump at a campaign rally in Louisiana last night, making his case for the Republican candidate for governor there and against what Democrats are about to do in Washington.
But Democrats must be accountable for their hoaxes and for their crimes.
The Democrats now plan to begin their public phase of impeachment with testimony from Bill Taylor, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine. He'll be followed by two other witnesses next week, State Department official George Kent and former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. Democrats hope all three will help make their case that the president pressured the president of Ukraine, making U.S. aid contingent on investigations into the 2016 election and a company connected with former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter.
Those open hearings will be an opportunity for the American people to evaluate the witnesses for themselves, to make their own determinations about the credibility of the witnesses, but also to learn firsthand about the facts of the president's misconduct.
The whole thing is a joke.
Republicans have dismissed the entire effort as preordained and partisan, and there is a likely outcome emerging.
Watching this impeachment unfold is like watching a sporting event where you already know the final score, and that is, it's very likely the House will impeach President Trump, and very likely the Senate will acquit him.
And if you were laying money down on this right now, that's no doubt what you would probably follow. It really kind of depends, though, on what happens during these public hearings and whether there is a major shift in public opinion one direction or the other. And not to completely discredit everything I just said, I don't even know why we're talking about impeachment this morning, because the political news that's really rocking the Capitol is the fact that Alex ran for mayor.
Yeah. Of Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
I mean, it's stunning, really. And Alex, I know you would never be impeached if you had won.
Thank you, Doug. As someone who covers politics extensively, this means a lot hearing that from you.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that I was a write-in candidate, Doug, would you say that means more because someone put in the effort to vote for me as opposed to just pressing a button?
If you say so. Yeah, I think so. Listen, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. They could have had Mike as mayor.
And you actually, that's true.
Sure.
And he actually tried to run for mayor. It was an April Fool's joke. But yeah.
I remember that. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Doug.
I've passed the mantle on to my co-anchor.
We'll give you an update on how my election run goes.
Now, what is the official slogan at Cherry Hill? More than just a mall, or is it Holly on the Hill?
Well, I have two running ones. Depending on, who I'm talking with, I want to make sure whoever I'm speaking with, that I do something that reaches to them. So
wow.
I would
all inclusive?
Yes.
Oh.
So I would like to be the Holly on your hill. And if you vote for me, I will make sure that Cherry Hill is more than a mall.
Oh, that is beautifully said.
Oh, well, thank you.
By the way, can somebody answer, is there a hill in Cherry Hill?
I'm looking at the responses, so
Okay.
we'll have to see.
At least a bump.
People are tweeting.
A rise, anything.
There you have our anchors having some fun with the write-in vote that Alex Hawley got in Cherry Hill for mayor. Talking about that this morning and having a little fun. Also, thanks to Doug Luzader for his report on the impeachment latest and the inquiry going public. I believe those hearings will be next week. We mentioned to you that Vice President Mike Pence was arriving in New Hampshire, and here he is live, stepping off of the plane, making his arrival. Let's listen in.
Wait, that's not our car. Hey, all the way behind the car.
Looks like that camera's on the move, so let's look back at the White House. Getting you a few of the president's tweets this morning. As he continues to combat the impeachment narrative and inquiry details that are coming out to the public, and now the word that there will be hearings, public hearings, in the near future. The first one of the president's tweets this morning: the degenerate Washington Post made up the story about me asking Bill Barr to hold a news conference. Never happened, and there were no sources. Another of the president's frequent refrains: read the transcript. Here's another that the president, another tweet from the president. I'm not sure to exactly which reporting he's referring here. Based on the information released last night about the fake whistleblower's attorney, the impeachment hoax should be ended immediately. There is no case except against the other side. and his most recent tweet. This one just came over moments ago.
Three. Is this Tracy? Tracy, welcome.
This is a big time of year.
I know.
What's the big thing?
Well, holiday cups.
Yes, Starbucks comes out with their holiday cups. Now it's officially the holiday season, Tracy.
Trace, we have them right in front of us, by the way. I know you can't see us, but we...
I've got one here.
Okay.
I just finished my coffee.
Okay.
But yes, there are 4 new designs out today at Starbucks to kick off the holiday season. The polka dots, the Merry Dance, Merry Stripes, and Candy Cane Stripes. So these are available today along with the holiday drinks. And today, if you order one of their holiday drinks like the peppermint mocha, the caramel brulee latte, you will get a reusable Starbucks cup that you'll be able to go back, take that to Starbucks now through January 6th, and after 2 p.m. get 50 cents off of any grande holiday drink.
That's the one.
Wait, so how do you get it?
You have to go in and get a holiday drink, and then you're going to also get the reusable cup.
So you have to purchase it separately as well as getting the drink? The reusable cup?
No, you get it for free.
Free.
Oh, it's free. Okay. Well,
yes.
All right.
Well, I don't care because I get my coffee at Dunkin'.
Because they're a sponsor, yes.
If they are still our sponsor. I don't know that they even are.
If they're not still our sponsor, then yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I'll go to the list
The other thing I want to mention, if you're flying on any Alaska Airlines flights starting today through Sunday, if you've got your holiday Starbucks cup, you get to board early. So we've got the 2 Seattle companies teaming up. Yes, all you need is that holiday cup on your Alaska Airlines flight, and you get to board early.
Very
worth
nice.
it.
I kind of like Alaska Air, actually.
I've never been on it.
No?
I do too.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. And it's got the big face on the tail, normally of some... It's either an animal or a rugged human, right, Tracy?
Yes, I think it's a guy.
Some dude who has a beard. It looks like he's been walking through the wilderness.
Oh.
And it's probably somebody famous. I shouldn't be saying that. Or like an elk or a bear. Yeah. That's only why I like to fly them. Yeah, which makes no sense. Tracy, I don't know. We're having a hard time here. Tracy, did you hear that Alex was running for mayor of Cherry Hill, New Jersey?
I did not know that.
I didn't know it either, Tracy. Someone happened to write me in as a write-in candidate in the election this past Tuesday.
Did you win?
No, only one vote.
It was
so no,
one vote.
It wasn't
and,
enough.
The winner got almost 6,000 votes, so it was close.
So I just need 5,999.
Yeah, exactly.
You might want to ask for a runoff. I don't know.
That's what we've been demanding.
A recount.
If this were Florida, it'd be fine.
We got a hanging Chad right here. Tracy, we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Do you know that it's Beer Week in Wilmington?
I did not. But you know who's going to tell?
Beer Week sounds like fun. Thank you to Tracy for that report and how to. I didn't know that you can bring your holiday cup back for refills at Starbucks. Interesting information. All right, you're looking live at the Dow Jones Industrial right now. The New York Stock Exchange up 0.75 of a percentage point to 206 points up. It's the Dow Jones Industrial now at 27,699. Looking at the headlines from Fox Business right now, stocks jumped to record highs after China says U.S. agrees to roll back tariffs if Phase 1 trade deal reached. The amount of tariff relief will depend on the content of the Phase 1 agreement. So, again, the Dow Jones Industrial by gaining 200 points within the first 30 minutes of trading. Or it did gain 200 points in the first 30 minutes. The NASDAQ and S&P 500 were also up and remain up. And they're all trading in record territory right now. So that's the latest from the business world. Other headlines: Roku plunges as streaming service splurges to juice subscriber growth. Papa John's explains decision to sell big slice of Papa John's shares. Some of the market news there. And PG&E taking a massive hit from the wildfires out in California. All right, let's get you that promised look at your weather forecast. Taking another look at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. Currently 54 degrees, dew point 43, winds out of southwest at 9. Enjoy the 50s because I don't think we're going to see them again for a couple days. It sounds like we're going to be highs in the 40s over the next couple days. That's in part due to this system that's moving through. There you see the rain all in the way today. Before we get too cool, let's take a closer look at ultimate Doppler over the last couple of hours. Some of the rain breaking apart before it gets into the area, but now it's starting to move through Lancaster County and Delaware County and Chester counties and across the northern suburbs, Lehigh, Monroe counties, Berks County. Let's take a look at current temperatures. As we mentioned, 54 in the city right now. Mix of 50s, some 40s to the north, and as high as 60 down in Wildwood. Northeast temperatures. As cool as 41 back in Williamsport, where that rain and heavier rain is falling right now. And your U.S. temperatures. 86 down in Miami, 81 in Tampa. Your warm spots. Rapid City, just 13 degrees across the northern plains there. 50 in San Francisco, 41 in Portland. Minneapolis and Chicago also cool at 20 and 23. Houston pretty warm, 71. New Orleans 76 on the Gulf Coast. Our temperature change from the same time yesterday. Doesn't look like that one wants to fire. Let's get you some wind speeds. Not mostly single digits. Wrightstown 13, Wildwood 13 as well. Not much to speak of in terms of wind gusts, although Wildwood registering at 18. Most of the winds out of the south and southwest. In terms of wind chills, not too much. It is taking it down a few notches in Mount Pocono to make it feel like 39. Visibility is pretty good around the area. There you see the satellite, the cloud cover as the rain moves into our area. Let's get you a look at your 7-day forecast from the Fox 29 Weather Authority. Cloudy, PM rain, could get as warm as 61 today. Call it a 6 on our forecast by the numbers. But tomorrow we're only getting to 43, sunny and blustery. It'll be 35 overnight. Then overnight into Saturday, it's going to be as low as 26. So if you've got outdoor activities to start Saturday morning, it's going to be a very cold start, 44 for a high. Temps rebound on Sunday for the walk to end Alzheimer's, 56 degrees. Overnight low gets back above freezing leading into that. And Monday for Veterans Day, partly sunny, 58. Possible rain or snow on Tuesday. The overnight low into the day is 40. The high is 43, but then we're going to dip to 26 overnight into Wednesday, which looks very, very cold, with a high of just 36. Make sure you download the Fox 29 Weather Authority app. Get the latest weather conditions on the go. Get severe weather notifications for the locations you set. It's available in the Google Play and Apple iTunes stores. Take one more last look at Ultimate Doppler there as we move away from weather. All right, developing story out of Montgomery County this morning. Predator in Upper Dublin. Police say a young child may have been lured or a luring attempt by two people in a black SUV. Our Sabina Kiriakos has this report.
So this is Jarretttown Elementary School. The school district indicates this is where that child went to school, he or she. Getting off of the bus stop, we believe, over in the Maple Glen neighborhood around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, when police say that child was approached by two people inside of a black Audi SUV. We're told that those two people tried to get the kid into their car, but the child refused, and we're told this morning that that child is safe. But police still looking for those two people and that car. They're asking anybody with surveillance cameras in the area to see if they picked up any black Audi SUVs. Maybe police can pull a license plate from that vehicle. We have seen a lot of child lurings in our area in the past couple of months, really since the school year started, but this is one of the first that we're seeing where two people were involved and inside of the vehicle. We don't know if it was a man or a woman, but chances are perhaps they thought that the child would be more comfortable getting into the vehicle if there were two people inside. Again, though, the child did not get into the car. He or she is safe. Upper Dublin Township Police looking for the car and those two people. We are in Upper Dublin Township, Montgomery County. Sabina Kiriakos, Fox 29 News. Back to you.
Thank you to Sabina for that report. Looking back live at our outside our Old City studios. Let's get you to some more local news. New developments in the death of a 4-year-old little girl who appeared to fall from a second-story window. Police sources tell Fox 29 the woman who lives in that home is now in custody. Last Wednesday, police say they got a call about a young girl who tumbled from the window on the 1700 block of Folsom Street in Francisville. Sources tell us she later died. We're now learning that homicide detectives are working on the case. Sources also tell us investigators removed other children from the home. Police are on the hunt for whoever shot 3 people, including a 16-year-old. This happened just after 8 last night on the 3900 block of North Franklin Street. 2 men were shot and are in critical condition at Temple Hospital. The teen is currently being treated at St. Christopher's Hospital but is expected to be okay. So far, no arrests. A Chester County woman accused of faking cancer to take people's money is now wrapped up in even more lies. Wilmington police have filed charges against 32-year-old Jessica Smith for impersonating a police officer and identity theft. These new charges come after Smith was charged in Uchland Township for lying about her colorectal cancer diagnosis. Investigators say she raised 10 grand in donations through GoFundMe and Facebook.
Now more charges against this lady.
And probably, if they look back many, many years, they'll find other things also. Nowadays, nothing really shocks you. Everything is just completely different.
Smith is free on bail in both cases. She has a preliminary hearing in Chester County on Tuesday. Well, this was a case that captured the nation's attention. 4 young men murdered in a Bucks County cornfield. One man, Cosmo DiNardo, will spend his life in jail. Now his accused accomplice is on trial. 22-year-old Sean Kratz is charged with criminal homicide. The prosecution says Kratz was on a mission to kill, rob, and burn the bodies of the young men, while the defense says Kratz didn't shoot anyone and says DiNardo threatened Kratz, saying, quote, "I will kill your family first and then you. We are in this together." The trial may last 2 weeks. Both Kratz and DiNardo could be called to the stand to testify. I believe our Jeff Cole was there for the opening of that trial yesterday. In Northampton County, Pennsylvania, county officials speaks out after voting machines failed to record thousands of votes in Tuesday's high-profile judicial race. The Allentown Morning Call reports an unknown malfunction prevented 26,000 votes from being recorded. People began noticing problems with the machine's touchscreen around 10:30 in the morning, and poll workers began alerting voters. Despite the machine issues, County Executive Lamont McClure says voters should feel confident in the election results because the machines all produced paper backups of each ballot cast. So something to watch there for sure. In Delaware County, tractor-trailer drivers are having a hard time following directions along Route 420 in Prospect Park. The clearance for this Amtrak overpass is 12 foot 6 inches, and local business owners say that truck drivers aren't getting the message and it's causing major problems. In fact, on Tuesday, 2 18-wheelers ended up wedged under the overpass, and then this one a couple weeks ago. Last year, Amtrak installed a steel beam to protect and buffer the bridge, and guess what? A truck came along and knocked it down. If you hit this sign, you will hit the bridge, says the sign there.
Everybody's fed up with it. You know, the town's fed up with it. It's dangerous.
Just
fly down the street, and you just hear like bang, like a building's falling down.
Officials have already installed at least 3 signs warning drivers about the clearance. Residents say they hope drivers start to pay attention before someone gets seriously hurt.
The truck itself, over the bridge.
All right, let's get you live to an event that's about to occur. We're waiting for this to start. I'm told this will be Secretary of State Mike Pompeo having a joint press availability with the German Foreign Minister at an old town hall in Leipzig, Germany. We'll try to get you out here for the start of the event once it gets underway. I'll get you some more information about what they'll be talking about in a moment. The Associated Press reports that Secretary of State Pompeo met with American troops in southern Germany Thursday, starting his trip based around the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, in an area where he served as an army officer during the Cold War. Pompeo, who served as a tank platoon leader on the border with Czechoslovakia and East Germany in the 1980s, chatted with troops at a training area and attended a live-fire exercise before heading north to meet up with German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas in the town of Maud-la-Ruth. Again, we're waiting. Secretary of State Pompeo is expected to hold a joint press availability here with the German Foreign Minister at the old town hall in Leipzig, Germany. See the American and German flags with the European Union flag in the middle. We'll get you out to that event when it gets underway. While we're waiting for this to happen, let's take another look at live conditions. As we mentioned, Ultimate Doppler showing rain headed our way, and perhaps even falling in some areas. Let's get you a look at live conditions from around the region, courtesy of our Weather Metrics cameras. Nice look at the Delaware Memorial Bridge there from Wilmington. All right, let's take it back live. Show you ultimate Doppler radar again. Get you to two more stories that we have locally for you this morning. This is the story our Steve Keeley was on this morning. Police are searching for the person who shot a 10-year-old boy in the head as he walked home from school in the city's Frankfurt section. Shots rang out around 3:30 yesterday afternoon on the 2000 block of Market Street in Philadelphia. Police say a car pulled up near a corner where a group of men were standing and someone inside opened fire. A man tried to shield 10-year-old Samaj and fired back as the shooter drove away. The boy was struck in the back of the head and is in critical condition. The man who tried to protect him was taken into custody on gun-related charges.
It's sickening. It's sad. It's disgraceful. It's totally disgraceful.
Apparently there's no respect for life anymore.
Police say the shooter was in a red or burgundy Pontiac G6. If you have any information, you're urged to contact Philadelphia police. And cheers to this study. Alcohol can leave a bad taste in your mouth, but did you know it impacts your memory? A new study out of the University of Pennsylvania details how it happens and what you can do to fix it. Here's that report from Good Day Philadelphia this morning.
Oh, in fact, gather around the TV if you've had, alcohol affect your life, alcohol abuse especially, whether you're dealing with it or a family member. We know that alcohol, of course, affects our perception. And that's, part of the draw, actually, of consuming alcohol. Sometimes people want to adjust their perception.
But new research out of Penn finds that alcohol also affects our memories.
Mm-hmm.
This Penn animation shows us that part of the byproduct actually attaches itself onto the DNA of brain cells.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you associate alcohol with certain memories.
It could trigger you. Dr. Shelley Berger is the study's senior author, and welcome to the show. So
it's a pleasure to be here.
What you're telling us is that alcohol, too much of it,
yes,
as it goes through our liver, changes our brain.
That's right.
Can we change it back?
Well, that is our hope. Exactly as you explained it, a byproduct of alcohol, we found that it travels through, in a mouse experimental model, it travels through the bloodstream to the brain, and it enters the part of the brain that is part of establishes memory.
So you're putting the alcohol down your throat, goes into your stomach, goes into your liver.
That's right.
And then the liver processes
That's right. That's right.
Then how does it affect the brain?
Right. So it travels through the blood, this byproduct of alcohol. It enters the brain, probably throughout the brain, but we measure it in a specific part of the brain that's shown on the video coming up.
Right.
This little part of the brain where we remember spatial memory. Mm-hmm. And so for a mouse model, we can show that when we've discovered a pathway that does this, and when we lower this pathway, we can lower the memory of a mouse for where it received a rewarding amount of alcohol.
So you mean if you have a favorite bar or place you like to go to,
exactly,
this would affect
our
you.
Drinking buddies, perhaps, right?
So the next time you walk there's certain people,
exactly,
like maybe the best friend or something. Mm-hmm. You can still hang out with that person without feeling the need or the memory that's associated with wanting alcohol.
Well, I mean, the problem is it's really the opposite that's the problem with people suffering from alcohol use disorder. When you see your favorite drinking buddies or your favorite bar,
right,
that brings up the memory.
Right.
So that then makes it very difficult to stop drinking.
So if I happen, like 3rd and Market is where I used to hang out and drink with my friends.
Yes.
Just seeing that friend might trigger my
Precisely.
want to drink more.
Right,
Or
exactly.
seeing that bar at 3rd and Market or whatever
Exactly,
would
that's
trigger
it.
me to want to consume more alcohol.
Right. So now we're trying to develop at Penn. My team at Penn is trying to develop right now we have an experimental drug that in the mouse model, back to the mouse model,
Right.
where we can test this now, can lower memory of where the mouse received the rewarding amount of alcohol, say a favorite room, something like that.
So you'd block, that drug would block the pathway.
That's right. Block the
Wow.
pathway, but keep in mind that it's very important that we not affect other memory.
I was just going to wonder, if your memory is associated with that bar in 3rd and Market, you'd still remember the bar, you just
Right.
don't remember drinking at the bar?
Right, so we can't affect specific memories,
Right.
so then the idea would be that in a therapeutic setting, where you might go if you were really suffering from alcohol use disorder, you might be going to a therapist to try to help you to break this cycle of drinking.
Right.
In the therapeutic setting, we would give this experimental drug that we already know is very short acting.
So-
it's not going to last in the brain very long.
Okay.
So then the therapist can give the drug during the therapeutic setting, go through all of the bar and think about what you like to do when you're drinking.
This would be a tremendous help, though, as you're going through recovery.
Exactly.
Yes.
As
How
you're
soon
going
could this
through-
be on the market?
Well, we're hoping. We've started a company called Epivario out of Penn. We're partnering with Penn,
Right.
And we're hoping in a year to have it in clinical trials in humans. Right now, it's only.
God, this
right.
is huge. A
It
huge
changed the game.
breakthrough.
It would be amazing because
Right here in
it's
Philly.
a huge social problem, of course.
Oh, no
It is. It's
question.
affecting so many people and families and friends.
Exactly, and beyond that,
Yeah.
we're hoping in a drug disorder such as opioid disorder,
Well,
which
it
is an
seemed
enormous
kind of the same
social-
thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you can block that pathway.
Well,
thank you for your research.
Oh,
Thank you,
I'm
Dr.
happy
Shelley Berger.
to do it, and
Keep us updated on it, too.
love to.
Whoa, what
Thank
a
you
breakthrough.
for having me.
Right over there in West Philly.
That's right.
Coming up on...
Good. Thank you very much for joining us to talk about that University of Pennsylvania drinking study. Let's get you live here. This is Vice President Mike Pence in New Hampshire. He has just arrived. His intent there is to formally file the Trump-Pence ticket in New Hampshire. Formally filing the ticket for himself and President Donald Trump to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. Of course, we showed you earlier as the Vice President stepped off the plane at Manchester-Boston Regional Airport, where he flew from Joint Base Andrews. The ticket for himself and President Trump to appear on the ballot is being filed at the New Hampshire State House. You see supporters outside there to greet the Vice President. Looks like the camera is headed inside to witness the event. We do have, as the camera moves around here, some video of Vice President arriving there. I can play that clip for you while we wait for the inside shot to resume. Oh, it doesn't want to cooperate. Anyway, the Vice President making his way inside the State House Legislature here. Let's get you some sound here.
Exactly. So Virginia Drew, that's great. That's great. Please. Virginia Drew.
It is an awesome pleasure and honor.
I've heard all about you.
Well, we're very excited. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you so much.
And this is Margaret Waterhouse, who works
Nice to
here
meet
with
you.
us.
Margaret, what a pleasure. Good to meet you.
Trisha
Thank you.
so nice to meet you.
Tricia, great to meet you. Thank you so much. What a special place.
Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Should we read up there?
Carmen, and welcome, bienvenido.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nicholas, good to meet you. Great.
Yes, actually, I can hand that to.
Wow.
So.
Let's get you out to another live event here. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and the German Foreign Minister are speaking. Let's listen live.
Wir arbeiten seit dem Amtsantritt von Präsident Zelensky gemeinsam mit Frankreich intensiv daran, den Minsker-Prozess voranzubringen. Die trilaterale Kontaktgruppe in Minsk arbeitet genauso intensiv daran. Frieden in der Ostukraine ist nach wie vor ein dickes Brett, das Geduld braucht, aber wir kommen voran, und zwar bei den Aspekten Waffenstillstand und Entflechtung in den letzten Wochen ganz wesentlich. Mike und ich sind uns, glaube ich, auch einig, dass nach so langem Stillstand echte Bewegung auch in Richtung eines Gipfels in Gang kommen kann. Wir sind uns auch einig in der Frage, dass der Reformprozess in der Ukraine weiter Unterstützung braucht, und Deutschland wird die Ukraine und den Präsidenten dort bei diesem Weg weiter unterstützen. Wir haben unter verschiedenen Aspekten auch über die Türkei gesprochen, über alle Differenzen, die es zurzeit mit Ankara gibt, aber letztlich auch festgestellt, dass trotz dieser Differenzen Ankara ein Partner der NATO ist, ein zentral wichtiger Partner, und deshalb auch das Dialogfenster nach Ankara offen gehalten werden muss. Nordsyrien war in diesem Zusammenhang natürlich außerordentlich wichtig. Wir sind uns einig, dass der wirksamste Schutz für die Zivilbevölkerung eine beständige Waffenruhe ist und humanitäre Hilfe ins Land kommen muss. Und wir bauen auch darauf, dass die von der Türkei gemachten Zusagen bei der Rückführung von Flüchtlingen unter der Einhaltung der UNHCR-Kriterien erfüllt werden. Und weitere Themen unseres Gesprächs ist der Umgang mit China, bei dem wir ein großes Interesse haben, uns mit den Vereinigten Staaten strategisch abzustimmen, aber auch Fragen, die den westlichen Balkan betreffen oder eben Afghanistan. Lieber Mike, ich freue mich später darauf, dass wir uns gemeinsam die Zeit nehmen, auf deinen ganz besonderen Wunsch in die Nikolaikirche zu gehen, um den Ort zu besuchen, an dem die Montagsdemonstrationen und die Friedensgebete stattgefunden haben. Herzlichen Dank noch einmal für deinen Besuch hier in Deutschland.
Visiting and welcome to Germany.
Heiko, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be in Germany for this historic week. This morning, Foreign Minister Maas and I spent in Modlereuth. We were vividly reminded of the painful separation that was caused by the wall. We saw guard towers, bunkers, and remains of the very structure President Reagan called the scar of a wall. It was a bit of a walk down memory lane for me, or memory Strasse. You could say I saw a piece of history that I was a tiny little part of back in the late 1980s. There was a plaque honoring American troops who protected peace and freedom in Western Europe. I was proud to play that small role. I think it's indicative of the incredibly important relationship between our two countries over decades and decades and decades and decades as we move forward together as well. You said, Heiko, in a little while I'll continue my visit here in Leipzig. We'll visit St. Nicholas Church, a sacred birthplace of German freedom. I'll talk with some of the brave demonstrators who 30 years ago helped bring down the wall that divided people. We'll then have a chance to visit the Halle synagogue, the site of the vicious anti-Semitic attacks just last month on Yom Kippur. A sickening reminder of how there remains much work to be done, and the vigilance in the fight for religious freedom remains an imperative for each of our two countries. You know, the events of 1989 remind me of what binds us, our two countries, free societies, transatlantic allies, and friends. We share a strong belief in the rule of law and in democracy, human dignity, free speech, freedom of religion, and so many other unalienable rights, things we know to be central. These values link us together as people and as nations, and they define our foreign policy choices. Not all nations share these liberal values. I spoke last week in New York City about the nature of how Chinese Communist Party, China's governing entity, views the world, and we should speak frankly about such things. I know Germany, too, is facing its decision about how to handle its telecommunications network. This isn't just a simple decision. It's complicated, but it comes in the face of the challenges that are presented by the Chinese Communist Party. Heiko and I spent a fair amount of time this morning, as he said, talking about Syria. The United States will continue to monitor the ceasefire and hold human rights violators there accountable. We're investigating allegations of war crimes, and we'll continue to deliver on our humanitarian mission there. And we'll keep urging Russia and Turkey and the regime and its allies not to take steps that would further destabilize that already difficult region that has caused the mass displacement and refugee flows that we have already seen. I know, too, that Germany prides itself on being an important and valuable multilateral partner, and I express my deep appreciation for Germany's commitment to multilateral efforts that are in both our interest as well as in Europe's interests. Germany's been a great partner in supporting our efforts to attempt to denuclearize North Korea. You've maintained pressure on Russia to meet its commitments to implement the Minsk agreements. You've stood alongside the United States and many European partners trying to achieve democracy in Venezuela. And in September, you stood along with France and the United Kingdom in ascribing responsibility for the Iran attacks, or for the attacks by Iran on Saudi oil facilities. Each of these issues has at its core the mission of protecting unalienable rights and human dignity, something that communists of East Germany failed to do for so many years. I look forward to working with you, Heiko, to protect our shared values. There's no better way to do that than to be here to remember the victory of 1989. Heiko, thank you for hosting me on this very memorable visit. I will certainly never forget it. Thank you.
Anschläge auf saudischen Ölanlagen. Und jede dieser Fragen ist wichtig.
Mr. Secretary, you mentioned the events in northern Syria. The French president, in an interview that he gave, declared that NATO was brain dead, and the Chancellor strongly rejected that statement. Do you do that too? And a question addressed to the Secretary. Mr. Pompeo.
I'm sorry, what was the second question? I didn't get the second question. Yeah. So, you know, I think you asked that in the right context. There we were in this place where nations of democratic values worked so closely together for a long time to achieve what happened in 1989 and then again in 1990. Remarkable work that created freedom and brought millions of people out of very, very difficult situations. I think NATO remains an important, critical, perhaps historically one of the most critical strategic partnerships in all of recorded history. That's why, it's why when you hear President Trump talk about the fact that we need to make sure that every nation shares that burden, that every nation works alongside. It's why I welcome the comments from AKK, who said we're prepared to do this by 2031, to get to the Wales Commitment by 2031. I'm happy to hear that. It's that relationship, it is that NATO alliance that is so central, so important, and it's why it is an absolute imperative that every country participate and join in and contribute appropriately to achieving that shared security mission.
No, I do not believe that NATO is brain dead. I firmly believe in international cooperation. Also and above all, because we are increasingly facing challenges of a global character, and NATO is the alliance in which we cooperate on security policy issues. Our core interest is to guarantee our security interests in Europe, and NATO does just that. And this is why we are grateful to our American partners for their contribution to Germany's and Europe's security. Together we have to make sure that the alliance continues to cooperate in the face of a number of difficult tests we've been put to. The challenges should not be downplayed in their importance, those that we are facing. But we have an interest in the unity of NATO and its ability to take action. We should all have that very interest.
Thank you. We're going to have Tracy Wilkinson, LA Times.
Hi, yes, thank you. For Minister Mas, you mentioned Ukraine. As it struggles to fight both corruption and Russia, do you feel like Ukraine suffered a setback with what happened in Washington and vis-a-vis Ukraine, the Trump administration's actions this year? And Mr. Pompeo, Secretary Pompeo, you have said that Ambassador McKinley did not make known to you his objections over the recalling of Ambassador Jovanovic, but he's testified that 3 times he directly appealed to you to make a statement in her support. You did not. Why not?
Go ahead, Eiko.
We believe that there is a very positive momentum in Ukraine right now, which began with the election of President Zelensky, and this is why we intend to support President Zelensky in his endeavors. He has 2 priorities, the first of which is fighting corruption. Over the past few years, Germany has already supported the Ukraine with 1.5 billion euros, and we will continue to support projects in Ukraine that are being set in motion as part of the reform agenda. His second priority is to achieve peace in Donbass, and here too we have noted that he has created preconditions that so far have not been realized. You know, agreements that have already been reached as part of the Minsk process are being implemented now, and thus we want to benefit from this momentum. We have one format, the so-called Normandy format, where Germany cooperates with France and Russia and Ukraine. It is not only in that format that we set in motion the Minsk process, but we intend to operationalize it further. And this is why we're working very hard to prepare the ground for a summit meeting in the next few weeks in order to, as I said, benefit from the momentum. And we're investing a lot of effort into that together with our French friends. We are engaging strongly here, and I am hopeful, I'm confident that in the coming weeks we will make headway step by step, and we will get further than we have been able to do in the past few weeks and months.
I want to take on the first question you asked too. Your question said something to the effect of, was there a setback based on what happened in Washington with respect to the approach in Ukraine? Well, what happened in Washington this year was that we provided $250 million worth of security assistance, defense assistance, and $140 million or so of additional security assistance, just like happened in fiscal year 18 and fiscal year 17. And the United States' efforts to continue to fight corruption continued throughout this year. So that's what happened in Washington with respect to Ukraine this year. And I think that's important because here I sit in Europe, a place that understands deeply the challenges of corruption in Ukraine, who talks about those risks to Europe incessantly and properly and importantly. And our administration, too, in the United States, has been very worried about Ukrainian corruption. It's been something that's been at the center of the State Department's mission set and something that we worked last year and we will work again in the year ahead, trying to make sure that President Zelensky has the opportunity to root out corruption inside of his own country. And as for Ambassador McKinley, I clearly follow this a lot less than you do. I haven't had the chance. It's a pretty busy world out there. I haven't had a chance to follow this. But with respect to Ambassador McKinley, I think he said at the opening statement that he put out that he wasn't particularly involved in the Ukraine file, so it's not surprising that when Ambassador Jovanovic returned to the United States that he didn't raise that issue with me. It shouldn't surprise anyone that in May when that took place, he didn't say a thing to me.
Okay, thanks. Next. So next is First German Television, Mr. Feld.
Minister Maas, the German defense minister, called for a more active German policy, a greater, stronger military engagement. How would you view a more active German policy, and also with an eye to what the United States have been doing now on the anniversary of the fall of the wall? Do you expect more commitment, more engagement, more gratitude on the part of Germany? And also a question with respect to Leipzig. There seems to be one of those members of the civil organization doesn't seem to be interested in talking to you. I would very much like to respond to the question that you put to me, the question regarding our minister, the statement by our Minister of Defense. These are proposals that we've been discussing for quite a while. They've also been subject of the coalition negotiations, and we will continue to talk about them. You know, also as far as the expectations are concerned with regard to Germany stepping up to the plate, so to speak, and how we can comply with those expectations. German foreign policy is active on the international scene to an extent that we haven't seen for quite a while. As I said, we are about to organize a summit meeting on Ukraine. We have taken a lead role with regard to initiating a political process in Libya. We've called it the Berlin process. We continue to engage with the Special Envoy for Yemen, Martin Griffiths, engaging in an intensive dialogue. We also offered to host the next peace talks following the peace conference that took place last year. We are in close touch with our American friends on how to proceed on Afghanistan. So should negotiations with Taliban be taken up again, I gave Mike Pompeo the promise that Germany would be willing to moderate the peace process between the Afghan government and the Taliban. As I said, we are active on a whole host of dossiers. We want to actively help solve crises and conflicts and find sustainable solutions. And of course, we will also be facing up to those discussions that make it very clear that greater engagement is expected on the part of Germany. We witnessed that in a number of parts of the world on the diplomatic scene. As I said, the issues or dossiers I mentioned are not complete. We will face up to this challenge. As I said, we are engaging on international missions abroad. Some of them will be concluded. New ones will spring up. And, of course, we will continue to focus in a very constructive manner on these expectations in the German government. Our membership in the Security Council of the United Nations has not made these expectations any smaller, and we will do our best to live up to those expectations.
If I may, I want to second what Foreign Minister Moss said there. The Germans have been great partners across a broad range of complex international issues. Even the places where you might find newspapers writing that we're in deep conflict, places like Iran. Like we're both very concerned about human rights issues inside of Iran. We're each concerned about hostages being taken. We both understand the challenges, their ballistic missile threat. We both know the risks that if Iran were to get a nuclear weapon, this is unacceptable. We start at the same set of principles and the same set of concerns. We've taken different approaches from time to time. That will happen amongst any two good friends, partners, and allies. But I appreciate the work that the German government has done alongside us on each of the challenges that Foreign Minister Moss described. As for Leipzig, I'm very much thrilled to be here. I'm excited. It's an important historic place. The people of East Germany sat under the yoke of communism for all of these years, and they worked so diligently and then rose up in a way that is most noble, that the fundamental search for freedom of people all across the world was in great evidence. And to get a chance to go now to St. Nicholas Church, a sacred place for the birthplace of German freedom, will be very, very special.
Foreign Minister Moss, first to you. Has Germany made any further consideration of the U.S. request to designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization? And are you encouraging the U.S. to open dialogue with Iran? And Mr. Secretary, when Ambassador Yovanovitch returned early from her post in Ukraine, she was told you could no longer protect her. Who are you protecting her from? And what is the State Department doing to mitigate the financial burden on veteran career diplomats who are being asked to testify in front of Congress?
We've been talking about Hezbollah for quite some while, not only with our American partners, but also with our Israeli friends. It is a topic that is not only important with respect to Germany, but it is something to which we need to find a European answer. We have been witnessing developments in the region and in Lebanon that gives us cause to be seriously concerned. And as I said, we will be engaging with our European partners with an eye to a possible listing of Hezbollah, but this presupposes European unanimity, and as I said, we will engage in that discussion.
You can see the media in Washington so fixated on a lot of things that you and I didn't spend any time talking about today, Heiko. Things that actually make a difference about American people's security and keeping the American people safe. The things that my team, my State Department team, is focused on all across the world. And as for assisting our senior officials who will have legal burdens connected to all of this noise, I think we'll have an announcement shortly that'll make good sense. It'll be consistent with what we've done previously.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, looks like this event is wrapping up. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo with the Foreign Minister of Germany holding a press availability in Leipzig, Germany. Let's get you one quick tease at what could be ahead in our weather future. It's Thursday morning right now, but Tuesday night we could be seeing some white stuff. Possible rain and snow in the forecast. Our weather team is working on their forecast for later today. We'll have a full forecast for you on the Fox 29 News at 5, 6, 10, and 11 tonight. But there you see it. We have the possibility of rain and snow Tuesday night, according to our Futurecast models. We'll continue to follow that and get you the latest. Download the Fox 29 Weather app anytime to get our latest forecast. Sign up for severe weather alerts and notifications for the locations that you set in the app. The app is available in the Google Play and Apple iTunes stores. Download it today. Again, one more look at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway here as we sign off. Fox 29 News Now is with you weekdays after Good Day Philadelphia and the Good Day After Show. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back with you tomorrow, Friday. Till then, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.